Welcome to the Vernon Hills Update. The update offers information about a variety of village services. You'll meet a few of your neighbors and you'll find out about upcoming events. On today's show, we'll learn about the village's new skunk removal and assistance program, a joint effort of the village and the park district to help support residents as we work to control the local skunk population. We'll find out about the new Passport Parking app designed to make parking at the Vernon Hills Metro train station simple and quick. We'll get some important safety tips from the Vernon Hills Police Department to help keep you and your children safe while trick-or-treating on Halloween. We'll cover some important processes for dealing with your garbage, recycling, and yard waste, including reminders about proper placement of your containers. We'll run through some important fire safety reminders with Fireman Tony Rodkey of the Countryside Fire Protection District. And we'll take a look at the sights and sounds of this year's Oktoberfest held on September 23rd at the Vernon Hills Metro Station. Thank you for tuning into the Vernon Hills Update.
We are outside at Village Hall. We're here with Village Manager John Kilmer to talk about skunks, which you've been talking about a lot with a lot of the local and actually national media is very excited about our skunks, which probably they are a nuisance this year. We're not alone in that, but in our case, Vernon Hills and the village and the park district have been very responsive to resident needs. So let's talk about what's going on with the skunk abatement, skunk assistance program.
Yeah, we've actually been trapping skunks off and on for over 6 or 7 years in conjunction with the park district. And this year, residents within the Deer Path neighborhood especially alerted us to the fact that there seemed to be a significant infestation of skunks in that area. And they appeared at a board meeting, requested assistance, and the board, again, working cooperatively with the park district, decided to ramp up our program a little bit to provide assistance to residents. Not full assistance, but a partial reimbursement for the removal of skunks off of their properties. So that's kind of where we are at this point. We've put together a program so that residents can contract with an individual operator, a licensed operator. They will come in and place a trap on an individual's property. They will work with the homeowner to monitor that trap, and if in fact there is a skunk that is captured in that, the trapper will then remove it and the skunk will be euthanized. We will then, upon presentation of a reimbursement form and the necessary additional information, including a receipt from the operator saying that in fact the skunk was disposed of, we will reimburse a resident up to $75 per skunk as a part of this program.
Okay, and some of the key points which you pointed out has to be a licensed animal control specialist, a licensed trapper. There's lists on the website, and it's only for skunks. If you get a raccoon or a possum or something else.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, and that's an important thing for residents to understand. The contractors are trappers, and they will trap various animals. The question that you have to ask them is, okay, besides the skunk, and we know what they'll do with the skunk, what will you do if you capture a raccoon or a possum or something like that? You may very well be able to work it out with them where they'll just catch it and release it. If it's a problem animal or an animal that has been a nuisance to your property in the past, you have the option of having that animal also removed. However, the village will not reimburse you for that removal.
And the thing about when you do this process too, there's a fee to come and set up. It has to be checked every day. Those animals have to be taken out within 24 hours. So there's a lot of things that your licensed professional will explain to you, and really the reimbursement is only for that removal of the skunk portion. So be very clear when you're signing your contract so you know what you're signing up for. And they'll also help you too if they're like, I don't think you're a good candidate for skunk trapping because you don't have any activity in your yard or something. They know the animals. Right,
exactly. And that really is the key. I mean, we understand that there are some trappers who will say, I'll place this trap here for this amount. If you want me to check it every day, it'll cost you additional money. If you want to check it and call me if there's something in the trap, we can work that in there, maybe a lesser fee that's charged as a part of that. So that's a question to ask the trapper as a part of this the entering into the contract and those discussions associated with that.
Well, and when we talk about skunks, you've said you guys, the Park District and the village have had traps out for years, and they've had traps out this whole season. And when it gets to fall and you've got the crab apples falling off the trees and the neighbors feeding the birds and the dog food for the other neighbor out and all these things, sometimes the skunks are smarter than they appear and they just don't go in the traps. So.
Well, and that's a very good point. I mean, as a part of the removal process, residents also have to look at their properties and find out how they can, quote, skunk proof it. If you have an elevated deck, that you've not cordoned off or you've not boarded up, you need to look at those things, because what you're doing is creating those sanctuaries where animals will go live, especially during the winter. And the last thing you want is to have a den of skunks established under your deck, because for all intents and purposes, you will not be able to use that deck for a year. Look for holes around your foundation. If you've got a wood pile, look around those areas. If you've got a shed, look around for holes and those types of things that could provide accommodations for these critters on your property. These specialists or these operators will also provide that kind of service where they'll come out and evaluate your property and tell you where you may have issues and things that you may want to do, and then they may provide a service that helps correct those types of deficiencies. So, it's a full service type of operation for folks. But again, this is really a two-part solution, working to remove them right now, but then also working to prevent them from coming back in the future. And again, that prevention also applies to raccoons and possums and everything else that goes along with that. If you don't want them denning on your property, you need to take responsibility to to animal proof your property against those types of those critters.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great natural spaces around us, and it's just they all want to get in by the warmth of the house. That's just what it is.
Yep.
So there's a lot more information online. The points that you have to follow, there's an outline of what you need to look for if you want to get involved in the skunk program, or you think there's a reason that it would be helpful for you. You can go online, you can ask questions, but do your research, whether it's about the trapper you're hiring or just the process in general. And thank you for being responsive. We appreciate that you and the Park District, the village and the Park District have kind of stepped up, and we can tell it's unusual because, boy, that was a lot of media flurry going on. So.
Well, and again, we're very appreciative of the Park District willing to step in and be partners on this. I mean, and it really is a partnership between us, the Park District, and the resident, because the resident is going to have to expend money to place the traps if they choose to participate in the program. And then the Park District and the village are going to spend money to reimburse them for a partial cost. So everybody is going to have a contribution, a financial contribution in this, and we're just very appreciative of the Park District and their role in partnering with us to abate this nuisance.
That's why this village works well, partnerships and working together. So thank you for taking the time. If you want to find out more, go on the village website is actually the easiest place to find all the information, but take a little time, do a little research, and hopefully it will be a little less stinky around town as the days progress. So thank you. We are at the Vernon Hills Metro Station on Route 45. I'm with Vernon Hills Finance Director Nikki Larson to talk about something that might make your morning commute a little quicker, a little simpler, at least when it comes to parking. So thanks for taking the time to join us, Nikki. I know you've been working on something called Passport Parking for mobile phone. That's kind of a lot to say about passport parking, but can you put in a nutshell what it is and what it'll do for people?
Sure. It's a new application that you download on your phone. It's available on all Android phones, and you can download the app and use that to pay for your parking. So you can do that from anywhere. It's convenience-based and it's free to download.
Okay. And you said Android, so not for iPhone yet, or?
Correct, it's not for iPhone yet.
Okay. Hopefully soon. I know that Apple products take a little bit longer to get into the Apple Store, but hopefully soon. And I know you've already had people use it. You just went live with it, and you've already had people using it for that convenience factor.
That's correct. We went live on September 12th, and we had people using it that morning, and it's been working very smoothly so far.
So when we talk about the app itself is free. You just download it, and in fact, you can interface also from your desktop because I tried that. So there's no cost for the app. Parking costs the same. It's $1.75 a day, whether you're using the app or the electronic boxes. But there is a transaction fee, like a convenience fee.
That's correct. There is a transaction fee every time you use the app of 37 cents. And you'll see that when you use the app, it'll show the parking fee of $1.75 and then the convenience fee as a total.
Okay, and that's something that the company that runs the program, it's not like it's going to the Village of Vernon Hills. It's just to use the app.
That's correct. It's just a fee that covers the cost of the transaction.
Okay, and you said that another thing you found out is when you use that, you can sort of load your Passport app up like you would a Starbucks card or like you would, something like that.
That's correct. There's two options. You can either download your credit card and do a daily fee. So each time you park, you would initiate the transaction and it would be $1.75 plus the convenience fee. Or you can use a feature called the wallet. And the wallet comes in increments of $20, and you would load $20 onto your app using your credit card, and then each time you park, it would draw down from that $20 balance.
But you found the wallet still did the 37-cent per parking transaction fee.
That's correct. You do still pay the 37 cents each time.
Okay. See, even the Vernon Hills staffers are trying to figure out if there's a way to get around that. So, and the only thing you really need to know is you need to know zone, and in our case, our zone is our zip code.
That's correct. So once you download the app, it will ask you for your zone number. It's located on all of the signs within the parking lots in case you forget, but it is the Vernon Hills zip code.
So 60061. And then the other thing you need to know is your parking place, which is those are the little medallions above each car. So that's the same way. You just plug that in each time.
That's correct. So it does not matter where you park in the lots as long as you remember your parking spot number. That's, as you said, located above the spot. And you will type in this spot number, and then the app will tell you how much time you have left. So in the event you are on the train for longer than you anticipate, you're running low on time, the app will tell you that, and then you can add more time to it if needed.
Or if you end up staying downtown or something like that, you can just take care of it so it's all squared away. And this app, I know you guys looked at this because people wanted some convenience, and it was being used in some other towns. So could I go over to Mundelein, which is another town that uses this? Can I go to Mundelein and just switch my zone and pay the same way?
Yes, you can. This app will work anywhere that Passport signs are located, and there are several train stations in the area that use them. So if you do use multiple train stations, you do need to be careful to make sure that you're correctly assigning the right zone and the right train station to your app.
So that's something you can watch. And you picked this one because it's the same people that do the electronic payment boxes here, which is kind of like the upgraded version of the sticking your money in the slot for your number. So that's the same company. You had a good interface with them already, and those electronic fare boxes are still going to be here, right?
Exactly. For those individuals that do not want to pay the convenience fee, or you have enough time before you get on the train, you can still use the fare boxes. Those will still remain available, and then the app is just on top of that as well, another option for people.
You can either or. You don't use them both. You can line up and queue up and use the fare boxes, save yourself 37 cents a day, or just do it on your phone. The other nice thing about that too, especially if you have to make reports or get reimbursements, the Passport app keeps a history for you.
That's true. It will keep a history for you, so if you're looking for reimbursement for work or you need to keep it for your taxes, you can get those records on the desktop version as well.
Okay, so there's a lot going on here. I mean, it sounds like a win-win. If you want to use it, it's there for you, and I'm confident that soon it will be at the App Store for iPhones, just because we know everything takes a little bit longer there. And it's a fairly new thing, so I guess all we need to remember is our zip code, 60061. check your thing for where your parking place is, and you're good to go to give it a try. So thanks for taking the time. And I think let's walk over to the fare boxes, and we'll give people just a quick lesson in case they haven't been to the train station for a while, how you could use those too. So thanks.
Great, thank you.
Well, we've just told you about the Passport mobile parking app. You also have the option, if you're a Metro user, to go over to Village Hall and buy a 2-month convenience pass. That's $55, so that's another way to park. But if you're just over here at the Metro station, we do have the electronic pay boxes. And since we're here, we thought it would be a good time to review with people how to use them. And Nikki, all the directions are here, but could you walk through for people how you would park if you came over and wanted to use the electronic pay boxes?
Sure, if you're going to use the electronic pay boxes, you just have to remember your space number, which is over your space number. So we're going to just enter in 359 is our space number, and press enter, and then it'll tell you to insert your credit card. So you want to insert that and remove that quickly, and it'll process, and then it'll just print out a receipt for you. Looks like we might have had an error. Oh, there we go. All right. And then it'll print out a receipt for you, and it'll show what time it expires, what day it's good for, and how much you paid.
Simple. So we've got a lot of ways to park over at Metro, so to get everybody off to work well in the morning. So thanks for your help today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Commander Jim Levicki with the Vernon Hills Police Department, and we're here today at Halloween City to discuss some Halloween safety tips.
I'm Kim Christensen with the Vernon Hills Police Department's Crime Prevention Unit. Before we get into the tips, let's remind everybody out there that the official hours for trick-or-treating in Vernon Hills are on Halloween Day. That's Tuesday, October 31st, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. 4 to 8 p.m. on Halloween official trick-or-treat hours.
Now, parents, before you send your kids out there on Halloween night, we have a few safety tips to discuss with you. First off, parents should accompany very young children. When it comes to costumes, light-colored, non-flammable costumes should be worn and a flashlight should be carried if children go out after dark. When planning a costume, keep in mind that long costumes and high-heeled shoes might be unsafe when crossing streets and climbing stairs. And think about using makeup instead of a mask. Sometimes masks can obstruct vision.
Now, parents, before your child goes out trick-or-treating, here's some things we would like you to share with him or her. First off, please tell your child to be respectful of the property of others and be respectful of other people as well.
And parents, always make sure you're trying to tell your kids we're not accepting rides from strangers or even older children that we don't know.
Instruct your child not to enter any home unless it is one of a relative or a known friend. Tell your child to stay on the sidewalk as much as possible and to confine their trick-or-treating to your own immediate neighborhood. Tell your child to walk, don't run from house to house. And children should always watch for traffic. Be sure you tell your child the same thing. Most important, urge children to wait until they return home before they eat any of their treats. Parents, check the contents thoroughly to see if anything has been tampered with. And throw away any unwrapped candy or unwrapped fruit. Always remember, when in doubt, throw it out.
Now, parents, we always want you to obey the rules of the road, but on Halloween night, it's very, very important to make sure you're watching out for those little ones that are walking around with masks and makeup on. Now, Kim, do we even need to mention cell phones? At this point, hopefully we don't have to, but parents, please, put the cell phone down. No texting and driving, no talking and driving. Just put it down. That's the safest way to go.
Now, parents, as far as when you're handing out treats, please do not invite any children into your home. Also, make sure that your porch light is on and or your driveway light is on to make the walking as safe as possible for all the children. Before we sign off on these Halloween tips for this episode of Vernon Hills Update, one more time as a reminder, the official hours for trick-or-treating in Vernon Hills are on Tuesday, October 31st from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's Halloween Day from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now, a little bit ago, we also gave you some tips for parents as far as what to do when your children comes home with those treats. Before you let your child eat them, you're sure you go through them really good. But the best tip of all is, when in doubt, throw it out. We'd like to thank everybody here at Halloween City on Route 21 for their cooperation and assistance in letting us tape this PSA and these safety tips for you. On behalf of Chief Patrick Crease and everybody at the Vernon Hills Police Department, we'd like to wish everybody watching a happy, safe, and magical Halloween. See you next time.
We are going to talk a little bit of garbage right now. We're with Village of Vernon Hills Code Enforcement Officer Brian Johnson, and he's the guy, you're the guy that gets the calls when the neighbors are unhappy with something around town. So that's why you're here today.
That's correct. Yes, I do.
You're the friendly face that comes out and tries to resolve the issues. But what we're talking about today is, garbage, recycling, yard waste, and that's one of the things that sometimes gets the neighbors upset. So I guess it just because it's the neighborliness of putting your cans away and everything like that.
It's actually one of the most common calls I get is coming out, and there's a lot of questions about where to store them, how to put them out. I use that as an opportunity to do education more so than enforcement, and it seems to work out well that way. There's a lot of people who just don't know what our codes are.
Right,
so,
exactly. Well, and a lot of people don't even know that advance disposal is the residential provider. They don't even know. Let's start back with that. The village has done a contract with Advanced Disposal. So if you're a resident, that's who you're going to call if you've got questions about pickups. That's who we get our garbage, our recycling, and then if you get yard waste service, they're the ones that pick it up. We can't sweep leaves into the street, nor can we burn them here. They've got to go into containers.
that's correct. They can either go into recyclable bags that you would buy at the hardware stores with put a tag on it that you can get through Advance, through Village Hall, and leave them out at the curb on garbage day, and they'll come and get them separately. Or you can do like these here. We have containers that are just for landscape waste, and Advance recognizes those too, just based on your billing information.
Right, and we get the tags that they put on the side of the container so you know who the subscription, but Advance is the one too. And as we speak about that, if you're doing a project or you're doing something and you have more garbage, our garbage people can't just automatically pick it up. That's something it's another thing where it's like garbage has sat out for 2 days or 3 days.
That's another common issue I get. Something's been sitting, especially over the summer. We had the floods, and we had people with rolls of carpeting. We had drywall, construction debris from mitigating any potential mold. And it's fine. Let's get it out. Let's get it hauled away. You do have to call for a special pickup. That is not part of your regular garbage service. So anything in addition to your normal cans needs to be called in for a special pickup. There is a charge for that. Advance will go over it with you over the phone, and then they'll schedule you for what day they show up.
Well, and they'll take away a lot of stuff too. If you give them a call, you just got to give them a call. They can't just do it on their own.
One of the things they won't take away TVs or electronics like that. Those have to be specially recycled, and you can call them and they will give you locations of where to go and drop those things off. But I see a lot of times TVs sitting out, they can't take them, and they will just sit there. So give them a call. They'll be able to tell you exactly what you can do with those and the proper way to dispose of those.
Exactly, and that's not just Advance, it's every place. You just can't take those to the landfill anymore. There's rules about that.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Well, so then the other thing is, when do we start bringing our stuff out to the curb? Because that's another thing, when these things should show up and when they shouldn't show up.
We do have very specific codes actually to when you can put your garbage out and when they must be taken in after the garbage has come and emptied them. So putting your containers out is okay the night before. After 5 p.m., the night before, you can put them out and they can sit. And if you look at these, I don't know if we can get a camera shot, these are proper. They're at the curb line. They're not on the street, which would block snowplows in the wintertime or cause leaves to build up. They're right at the edge of the curb line so that machines can come and lift them and put them in the truck. After they've been picked up, the garbage has been emptied, you have until 7 o'clock that night to get them off and back stored properly. So 5 p.m. the night before, 7 p.m. the day that they pick up, That's your time when they can be out at the curb.
And in a second, we're going to show everybody where the proper places and improper places to store. But I guess as we're talking now, too, one other topic that came up is critters.
Yes.
Critters like to get in the garbage, so it's important that our containers are in good shape and the lids are shut.
That's correct. One of the hot topic issues this year has been the skunk population, as well as raccoons and other critters that are around. And by having the lid firmly down, the garbage not stacked up to where the lid can't act in properly as it should, that prevents the critters from getting in there. It also prevents some of the odor. They have very good sense of smell. They will search out and find their meal for the day. If the can is up, the lid is up, there's extra garbage piled up there, that's asking for them. That's inviting them to a feast. And that's what we see a lot of times. So we want to keep the lids down. If you have garbage that's going to go above and beyond, we suggest you either A, call for a special pickup, put it in another container, or B, wait till next pickup, store it properly in your garage or somewhere around the house where it's not available to the critters, and put it in the can for the next pickup.
And if your container has been busted up, maybe the lid doesn't shut anymore, that's where you can call Advance. They'll take care of it.
Advance will come out and they will do repairs or replacement depending on how severely the damage is. So if it's a new lid, they'll put a new lid on and it'll work properly. If your wheel breaks off, they'll come out, put a new wheel on for you. And that's part of your contract.
Yeah, excellent. And they do a good job. They're really good about getting out here. They cover the whole town, so they got to be taking care of us. Well, Brian, since we talked about some of these tips, let's now show people where the right places and wrong places are. So let's take a look at that.
Okay.
Well, Brian, I know one of the things you worry about is how long the cans stay out, and this is kind of one of the positions that the neighbors get a little upset about, I guess.
Absolutely. In this instance right here, looking at these cans, is the most common violation that I run across, and they're stored on the driveway up against the garage door, which is against the code. What I normally would do in something like this, I have an informational sticker that I'll put on the cans. I'll put it right here so you can't help but see it. You can't open the can, obviously, without taking a look at it. And the great thing about this is it shows the basic information of where it is approved for them to be stored. One of the areas is inside the garage, which we're going to talk about. Another area is a landscaped area around the corner of the garage. Another area is set back 15 feet from the front of the house, which in this house would be the garage. The structure itself is set back a little bit, but the garage is the furthest facing forward area of the house. And then, of course, the rear of the house. The garage and the rear of the house are where we recommend them to be. It just eliminates a lot of confusion and problems.
Well, and on top of it, if anybody's got questions, then just call over. The number's on there. Call and say, I don't understand. Talk me through it. So.
That's correct, and I'll be more than happy to come out and go over things, do a site survey. Let's find a good spot for these.
So you'll come out and help people figure out what to do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And this notification is not intended to be a violation. It doesn't go in any records that you've been a chronic violator. It's just educational. It's showing you.
It's not a ticket you don't have to pay something.
No. If it becomes repetitive, I will send out violation orders, and then we will go to the ticket process. But that's further down the road. This is just letting you know what the ordinance is and how you can abide by it.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Well, now let's show people one of the places where they can store things. Well, one of the approved places to put your garbage, your paraphernalia, is in your garage. We know some garages are smaller in town, but it is doable.
Yeah, and it's preferred. It almost eliminates the critter issue as long as your garage is properly sealed. And it keeps things inside, not to be seen. It's really the best option there is out there. And normally they'll fit. If you put them right against a wall, you can still fit 2 cars into your garage. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of move these against the wall where we normally see them and recommend they be.
Well, and the side of the house is where a lot of people do it. They just don't have the room in their garage, or they haven't figured out how to reorganize. But side of the house, side of the garage is another good spot.
Yeah, and you can see right here that this can, where it's located, is well within our code and very acceptable. We're 15 feet back. It's up against the side of the house. This is a good choice. This is a good spot.
Well, we talked about the places things could be in the garage, side of the house, back of the house. And one of the things you've seen people do or you encourage people to do is if you just landscape a little bit with either a shrub or a fence, you can do a lot of things.
Yeah, by putting landscaping next to your house, you eliminate the need to go 15 feet back. If you put a bush or a small fenced-in area right at the edge of your house, you can store the cans behind that, and that's fine. Here's an excellent example of that, where they've got the fence around the backyard, and the cans are tucked safely within the fence, and it keeps all potential of unsightliness as well as code violations. It takes them totally out of play.
Plus, it's handy for them.
Absolutely. It doesn't get much easier than this. You come out the back door, you put your garbage in the can, you go right back in the house.
Well, and I know you talked about this is a thing for education as opposed to, violations. So if people want to know more or if they want to come and have you help them figure out what to do, you're available.
Absolutely. I get calls all the time about I'm confused, where should I be putting them? I have no problem with coming out and talking to you, doing a site survey and going over the best spots that fit your property and will also fit your needs. We're not going to tell you to put them on your back patio when you've got a large patio table and you do a lot of entertaining. That's not right. But we can find different areas to get you within compliance of our codes and maintain that throughout.
Excellent. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your help. And remember, if you want to know more, you've got Mr. Brian Johnson here who can help you. Call the Village Hall, go online and look at the information there. Call Advance. They'll help you as well. So that's the information about garbage and leaves and everything else. And have a great fall as you pick up those leaves. And thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
We are over at Countryside Fire on Deer Path Drive. And as you're watching it, it's October, which is usually the traditional Fire Safety Week, Fire Safety Month. So what a great time to come over and talk to Fireman Tony Rodkey. And thanks for taking the time. Busy. It's actually hot the day we're talking. You guys have to battle all the elements.
Yeah, the weather's been really crazy this past year, but it's a pleasure to have you guys.
Well, thank you. And if you're watching early enough in October, you can still come. You can still make plans to come to that pancake breakfast you got coming up on October 8th.
That's right. Sunday, October 8th, from 8 a.m. till noon, we're going to have the annual pancake breakfast and open house. Come on by because, all you can eat, $15 for a family, pancake, sausage, juice, coffee, fruit. It's all here. And in the open house part, I'm bringing in the fire sprinkler trailer, and we're going to have some live fire demonstrations and showing the effects, the positive effects of fire sprinklers and smoke alarms.
That's quite a thing to see because I've seen that before. You've shared it with our viewers. It does really make an impact on you when you see how the difference what a fire sprinkler system can do. And you'll have the inflatables and everything else, and the money goes to a good cause.
Oh, we can't forget the inflatable fire truck for the kids to crawl through, absolutely, and some other fun activities as well.
Excellent. So that's Sunday, October 8th. Thank you for always doing that because it's a great community event. If you've never been there, that's the place to be that day. And because it is Fire Safety Week, Fire Safety Month, let's talk about fire safety. Can you give us some tips, and can we start with the importance of knowing how to get out of your home, out of your place of work, all those things?
Absolutely, Lynn. Coincidentally, this year's National Fire Protection Association Fire Prevention Week theme is every second counts, have 2 ways out. So the idea is to create a plan, a fire escape plan with your family. Importantly, knowing what to do and where to go in the event that your smoke alarm starts sounding off. You got to get outside, get to your meeting place. The meeting place should be somewhere out front so that fire, rescue, or police can identify the family should there be a fire. Hopefully never. However, once you get outside of your meeting place, that's when you want to call 911. We want you to get out, then make the call. Have 2 ways out of every room if possible. I know sometimes that's not the case, but every second counts. Have 2 ways out is this year's theme.
Okay, so, and when you sit down and do an escape plan, that's where I've seen where people even take a piece of paper and kind of draw it out, and the kids kind of show how to get in and out of a room.
Yes, we spend a great deal of time on the Great Escape Challenge with our 4th graders, providing them with a ruler and some graph paper to bring home and make that escape plan. And we can start on that before 4th grade, but that's about the time that we're ready to do that. And Mom and Dad, we can do that now.
And it's especially if you've got an upstairs, a downstairs, you got to do it for all the areas. And I know too, you always say, if there is smoke, we're supposed to go low, right?
Absolutely. If there's ever that type of smoke where you're like, it's going to make you choke, smoke's going to make you choke, it's going to burn your eyes, you got to fall and crawl. We teach a kid you got to crawl low, quickly, of course, to get to that door, to get outside, and then close any door that you go through.
Okay, close the door then behind you to sort of contain everything. So that's that fire escaping, or a fire escape plan from your home, or any reason you got to get out of there. So excellent. That's a really important tip. I know we've got some other tips for people for fire safety, and one of them is it's going to be time to change our clocks on November 5th. So we have to be ready to change our batteries.
Yes, that's been the saying, the campaign. When we change our clocks, change the batteries in your smoke alarm. And that's every smoke alarm. And we should have at least one smoke alarm on every level of our house. Now, if you have more, that's great. We want you to hear the beep where you sleep, Lynn. But you got to change the batteries in each of your smoke alarms. And it's recommended in fall when we turn the clocks back, and then in springtime when we turn the clocks forward again.
So just to make sure we got fresh batteries all the time. So get ready for that. Go to Target or wherever and get your batteries ready. And then you also like us to change those out every 10 years. Like if we've had a smoke alarm that's been in there 12, 15 years, they just start getting fritzy. So you can get a new one for cheap.
Yeah, they're $4 with a battery at Walmart. And the campaign is don't wait, check the date. On the back of your smoke alarms is a stamped date. And that's the date that it was manufactured. And the smoke alarms recommended to be changed 10 years from that date. The entire smoke alarm be changed out.
Well, you're full of a lot of little good rhymes. You're almost like a rapper here today. Very excellent. So, well, I know you've also talked before. You get concerned about like maintenance type issues around our home. So keep that dryer lint cleaned out, or pull that pipe off the back and look how much junk is in there, because that's flammable stuff.
Absolutely. There's some maintenance we can do around the house as fall is approaching. Each day, change your dryer, your dryer lint trap, but check behind the dryer as well. Did socks or T-shirts fall back there? Those are combustibles that can catch on fire from the heat of the dryer. Also, your fireplace, your chimney should be cleaned out. The furnace filter. When's the last time you had your furnace serviced? Prepare that for winter, and it'll save you some heartache.
And you talked even about the bath fans. They get all kind of gunked up.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. Yes, the exhaust fans in our washrooms exactly build up a lot of lint and dust as well, and we recommend those cleaned as regular as possible, monthly preferably.
So a little bit of fall cleanup, fall maintenance, fall getting ready, so that we have a bit safer of an environment. And now probably the most important thing, and you teach kids in school, and I know we all think about it all the time, but just teaching everybody how to pick up the phone and dial 911 and when to do it. Can we talk about that for 1 second?
Absolutely. I'm always informing the younger children. It's nice you know your numbers. 911 is the emergency phone number, of course. We got to know your address too, little ones. Okay, so Mom and Dad, let's work with your younger kindergarten, first, second graders to know their address, because that's going to be very important. If a child says, well, I live in Vernon Hills, after they call 911, it's going to take us a little longer to find you.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've got ways of connecting in and seeing some data at the dispatch, but still, to be able to tell where you are at any given time. And when should we call 911?
When in doubt, call it out. Anytime you're thinking, gosh, should I call 911? Is this an emergency? Absolutely, pick up the phone and dial.
Anytime it crosses your mind that it could be, it probably is. Okay, excellent. And you guys are very patient. You do a lot of calls all over because you'd rather be there at the beginning rather than wait.
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Well, so those are some really good Fire Safety Month tips, and we will all stop by and see you for pancakes at the beginning of the month, so thank you for that. And we also want to thank people. You had a big campaign going on. Now, as we tape this, you're doing really well on the voting campaign. You're trying to earn $3,000 grant to go for programming. You were doing well. We don't know the results, but a lot of people pitched in and voted.
Yes, I'd love to thank all of you guys. Thank you for reaching out to your friends, your family, and coming to our Facebook page, Countryside Fire Protection District Facebook page, and voting for that Step Up and Stand Out grant video that we're in contention to win that $3,000. We'll know more by open house.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, so hopefully that all goes well. And thank you for all you do here at Countryside. You guys are always looking out for everybody. If you need to know more, go on their website, go on their Facebook, ask questions, call the non-emergency if you need to know something, or dial 911 if you want to, if you think you got a problem. So,
Absolutely. When in doubt, call it out. 911.
thank you.
You're welcome.
There's colors in the street, red, white, and blue. People shuffling in a feet, people selling in a shoe. There's a war down, sold ahead. Got the people saying you'd be better off dead. Feel like saying, but it ain't them. Trying to forget it, way that I can. Rockin' in a free world. Rockin' in a free world. Keep on rockin' in a free world. Rockin' in a free world.
Well, that wraps up this edition of the Vernon Hills Update. If you have comments or suggestions, please call Mike Stordo at 847-918-3560 or email Mike S. at thehills.org. Thank you for tuning in to the Vernon Hills Update.